Ya Allah, keep me near, fill my heart and remove my fear, guide my way through every night, lead me gently toward your light.
Standing over 6 feet tall, with a muscular build and a reputation for winning wrestling matches through raw aggression, Umar ibn Al-Khattab was the primary enforcer of his tribe's dominance. He was a product of Jahiliyyah, the age of ignorance. In this era, the Arabian Peninsula functioned without a central government, a formal legal code, or a court of appeals. Society was a meat grinder of economics and war. Tribal leaders grew wealthy through predatory interest rates. Slaves were traded like livestock, and the lack of resources kept clans locked in a state of perpetual combat. Security depended entirely on your clan's ability to kill on your behalf. If you lacked a powerful family or found yourself in the minority, there was no law to protect you from the will of the strong. Umar wasn't merely surviving in this system. He was its physical embodiment. He used his strength to protect the hierarchy and terrorize anyone who threatened the status quo. But that status quo was challenged when a small group began preaching human equality under a single god. This message threatened the very foundations of the tribal power structure. The ruling elite responded with torture. They took a slave named Bilal, pinned him to the burning desert sand, and dropped a heavy, jagged stone onto his chest to crush his spirit. Bilal's response was a psychological shock to his captors. Instead of begging for mercy, he whispered a single word over and over, Ahad, stating that there is only one God, and he answered only to him. Umar saw this defiance as a social contagion. To stop the revolution before it reached his own doorstep, he drew his sword and marched through the city to assassinate the Prophet Muhammad. This was a desperate attempt to salvage the world he knew. He believed that by killing one man, he could silence the call for equality and preserve the power of the Meccan elite. His march is interrupted when he learns that his own sister, Fatima, has secretly converted to the new faith. Enraged, he changes course and storms into her house. When he finds her with a manuscript of the Qur'an, he strikes her down. But as he stands over her, he sees the blood on her face and realizes that his physical violence has failed to move her will. Her unshakable resolve in that moment finally breaks through his aggression. Disturbed by his own actions and curious about the source of her strength, he asks to read the pages she was hiding. After he washes himself out of respect for her demands, he reads the words of Surah Taha. The text declares that the Creator is the only true authority and that no human being has the right to be worshipped by another. The logic of the text reaches the man that no sword could touch. Umar drops his weapon and walks to the house where the Prophet is staying, not to strike, but to declare his submission. His conversion changed the social reality of the city. For the first time, Muslims felt protected enough to pray openly at the Kaaba, and Umar was given a new title, Al-Faruq, the one who can distinguish truth from falsehood. Physical force had reached its limit. These verses dismantled the internal framework of a man who previously believed that reality was defined only by the will of the strong. Years later, Umar governed as the second caliph, managing a vast empire from his walled capital in Medina. He spent his nights walking the streets in disguise, searching for the suffering and the unvarnished truths that his officials might miss. During one of these patrols, he finds a woman sitting by a fire. She is boiling water and stones to trick her starving children into believing a meal is coming, hoping the sound of the pot will lull them to sleep. Umar was overwhelmed with guilt. He immediately ran to the public storehouse, personally loading heavy sacks of flour and containers of oil onto his own back. When an aide tried to take the weight from him, Umar asked, "Will you carry my burden for me on the day of judgment?" He insisted on bearing the physical weight himself. He arrived at the tent and cooked the meal for the children. This moment defined his leadership. He had moved from the man who tortured the hungry to the ruler who felt personally responsible for every empty stomach in his empire. This sense of duty led him to build the world's first systemic public welfare programs. He established the Dar ad-Daqiq, a network of storehouses, ensuring that food was always available for travelers and the destitute. During a year of severe famine, he refused to eat meat or butter, living only on bread and oil until he was certain his people were fed. He was eventually assassinated while leading the morning prayer, a violent end for a ruler who had dedicated his life to the pursuit of objective justice. Umar ibn Al-Khattab's legacy is found in this total inversion of identity. He proved that the man who once relied on the sword for dominance could become the man who relied on his conscience to serve.
Keep me near, fill my heart and remove my fear, guide my way through every night, lead me gently toward your light, light my heart, guide my soul, make my broken spirit